Joining us for a little bit is Louisiana State Treasurer John Schroder. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to Keel. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Robert, good morning. I hear it's your birthday today. Is that true?
It was yesterday, and I am still in a period of, let's say, recovery. So if you could sort of whisper your responses, that would probably be awesome. Legislature, the Louisiana State Legislature in full session. You know, I did a segment on Friday just talking about the beauty of gridlock. Is there anything working its way through the legislature, the lawmaking process, that you've got your eye on that you think is a bad idea? We'll get to the good stuff later. That you think is a bad idea that you're concerned about?
Well, I mean, there's close to 800 bills filed, so there's probably about, I don't know, 750 bad ideas.
About 750. Does the gas tax, does the gas tax have any chance at all? And if going into it they knew it didn't, why did it even come up?
Politics. Politics. I mean, look, I tell people, no matter what side the argument on, anything that is worth doing in this place takes years to do it. So I get that they, I get to Austin. I know him very well. He's been here he's on his last year in the legislature. Steve Carter lives in Baton Rouge. He's a Republican, and I got asked that last week at lunch. Is this guy a Republican? Yeah, he's a Republican. He lives in the middle of Baton Rouge in total chaos when it comes to traffic. So he's doing what he thinks is best. I mean, I don't think anybody likes to raise taxes, but I get why he's doing it. I tell people I'm not in favor of raising any tax as long as I know we're wasting some money.
What are you keeping your eye on? What's working its way through that you kind of like that will benefit citizens of Louisiana?
Well, we have two bills up in appropriations in Ways and Means today, and you've heard me talk a lot about unclaimed property. And when I got elected to treasurer about a year and a half ago, I found out that the state was spending its balance of unclaimed property. So whatever cash is not returned to the citizens of Louisiana, the state was spending it in the general fund, and now has an IOU somewhere north of $850 million. So we're pushing a bill that creates a trust fund with the balance, and something I think would be great for the state is we create a trust fund that we can invest and use that dividend on infrastructure projects around Louisiana. The state of Georgia does this, Robert, and saved over $50 million in the last fiscal year for the municipalities around the state of Georgia. They've been doing it for about 20 years. Excuse me,
Mr. John, that to me sounds like a pretty logical, pretty good idea. Why would anybody be against that?
That's a good question. It passed the revolving loan program passed last year without a nay vote in the legislature, only to be vetoed by the governor. So in his letter, and his staff told me that we didn't have a way to fund it. So this year we came up with a way to fund it. This money, if you read the different parts of the law, does not belong to the state. The state is a custodian of the money and is supposed to protect it until it's returned to its owners. I don't believe we're supposed to be spending it. So it's a perfect pot of money to stock away, save it, and create a trust fund like some of these other ones we have in the state that equal about $6 billion. It makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you.
A couple of seconds ago, you said there's a couple of bills that we, meaning the Treasurer's office, are pushing. What's the other?
Well, it's a combination. It's two bills. One's a constitutional amendment that creates the trust fund. The Speaker of the House is carrying that bill. And then the other bill would be the revolving loan program, where we would put the dividend from the interest from the trust fund into this revolving loan program, where municipalities would borrow money at a very low interest rate. They'd have to pay it back. This isn't free money. And over in its 25th year, it could be kicking off $50+ million a year.
The what's it called? The revenue estimation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is there going to be, just kind of take a left turn here, Is that going to be is there going to be the same amount of confusion coming out of the legislature this year and the governor that there was last year?
No, I don't think so. I think now it's just a matter of where do they decide the extra money gets spent, and it's not a lot of money. I mean, obviously, $100 million is plenty, but in comparison to a $30 billion budget. But they'll fight for a little while. I mean, quite frankly, the Appropriations Committee just wants to make sure that government's not spending more than it has, and they're combing over pretty good right now to see who's holding little pots of money. It was reported late last week that there's close to $2.5, almost $3 billion not spent thus so far at the end of the fiscal year.
I would have no way of knowing. Does the fact that it is an election year have anything to do with how things seem to be going along so much more smoothly, at least for now, legislatively?
Well, look, let's face it. They finally passed a revenue raise the last year that sort of took that fight out the mix, and that we've been fighting over that for 9 years or 10 years. So,
so much for my question, right?
Yeah, that changes everything. And then look, in an election year, not many people want to stoke the fire, but man, there's a few guys down there who don't care about getting reelected and working a few things. I mean, Dodie Horton's got a good bill to return to 0.45 sales tax hike back to the taxpayers since we've had back-to-back surpluses.